I have tried many different methods for organizing my to-do lists, some free, some paid, some software, some more on the paper side of things. You guys that know me from my Supernote videos know that I have spent literally thousands of dollars on devices and experiments, but I have come to settle, at least for now. I mean, it continues to evolve, but right now, the system that I am most actively using for staying on top of my goals, breaking them down bit by bit to make them more manageable and to accelerate, and I mean greatly accelerate my progress toward them, is completely free. It's called Notion, and it's just a matter of learning how to apply it that really matters. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. So let me introduce you to the system itself first. I call this page inside Notion Life Goals, and it's a part of a larger framework that I'll show you just real briefly if I can get the page open. Notion, for those of you that don't know, is it's a software that essentially enables you to create your own software, but it requires no coding. It's just kind of like a drag and drop page builder, database builder. If you're familiar with the databases side of Notion, that's a whole nother animal that enables just a plethora of additional functionality. But we're not even going to go into that in this video. But I just want to show you. I mean, this is a lot of time of experimentation and design and refining. I have all of my business plans inside here, my broken down mission statement for the business, the type of customer that I'm aiming for, the YouTube channel. I mean, this video that I'm making right now, I haven't been faithfully honoring the system I've designed inside of Notion for walking through the steps of a YouTube video and you know uh, carefully crafting each piece strategically. I have that system in place, but I just haven't been faithfully honoring it because I've been busy with this bathroom renovation. But regardless, the point is, Notion is much more than what I'm going to show you today in this video. What I'm going to show you today in this video is literally just this page, life goals. And once you start here, this is a sort of foundational piece. Then you can continue to build up from there as you go. Life goals. This is a place, a single page where I have most actively lately been breaking down all the goals that I have for my life literally by the decade. So I start at the decade level, meaning my 30s, the age I just turned, kind of a identity, a pivotal moment in my self image, and all of my 30s. So these are all of my goals for all of my 30s. These will continue to change. Your goals will change as you go and you make progress, and your tastes change, and you meet different people, and you experience new things. And that's perfectly fine. You can adjust them however much you want. After the decade level, you have the annual level. And I do this by age, not by calendar year. And the reason I do that is because I feel it creates a greater sense of urgency when I am explicitly aware of the age that I am and the amount of things that I'm targeting to accomplish in this age of my life. I know I have, as we all do, what, roughly 100 years to do whatever I do with this life. And if I just have calendar year of 2026, that's not going to immediately speak to, hey, you're going to die someday. You might want to get moving. That's why I do that. So age 30, all of my goals for age 30. And you can see this is where I start to break down my goals by essential and bonus. Another word that I've started to use lately is priority and bonus, because essentials is kind of a loosely applied term. I mean, what does it really mean for it to be essential? Is it absolutely necessary to survive that I create another bathroom in my home? No. But is it a priority? Absolutely, because it's unlocking additional rental income, which is going to make everything else so much easier. After the annual level of planning, then you have the season, and that's what I prefer instead of quarterly. Again, similar to the whole instead of the calendar year, I'm doing by age. I like to just offer a little twist here. I don't care about the quarters of the year. I think it makes more sense. This might be coming from my educational background, having used to work in public and classical education. Having the summers be specified as June through August, that makes more sense to me than the quarters, which would make this like, I think, July, August, September. So that's just a personal preference. You can, of course, do the quarters if you prefer that. And all of my summer goals. And then after that, you have within this summer category, this summer breakdown menu, then all of the months that belong in that season. So I've got June, and again, as you see the pattern, you continue to break the goals down, right, to make them more manageable. And also, another reason that I did this is because in targeting these different goals, one of the things, if you're familiar with, I'll just show you really quickly. So this right here is the way that I used to, and I still do, I just don't reference it as often. This is how I had originally thought about visualizing my goals and sort of distributing them across time. And what I wanted to, I wanted to add visuals. It's kind of like a vision board. If you're familiar with a vision board, this is what I was designing inside Notion here. But after using this for a while, and the pattern was I would I would just simply go to this and read through these out loud, including the deadline, once a day or maybe twice a day. And the idea is just to keep your goals in front of you and like mentally in front of you so that you're aware of the direction you're heading in. And that alone is massively above what the typical person does. But after using it for a while, I felt I could still do better. I wanted a better way to break down this goal, for example, like starting a whole life insurance policy. No, that's maybe not the best example. How about we go with this one? The ADU. An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. It's essentially a house. It's a small house that you build in your backyard, and then you can use that. Some people use it as an additional house for if they have a live-in like in-law or something. But in my case, I wanted to use it for the sake of rental income, just like I'm using for my spare bedrooms for right now. That's a pretty large project. It's going to require a lot of leading up to, including the financing is the main thing, coordinating with contractors, designing the ADU itself. What is it going to look like? How large is it going to be? I have to take into consideration the rules around ADUs in my area. I think an example there is you have to create a parking space off of the street. You can't just use the off street, like right there along the curb as parking for an ADU. So all of that different stuff, it would be very helpful instead of just showing myself in this goal page that I had before, instead of just seeing, okay, I've accomplished this thing by this date. That's massively helpful, but it would be more helpful if I could more clearly and explicitly see what are the specific steps leading up to the realization of that goal, and how am I going to be targeting those in terms of time along the way. So that was an additional element that inspired the design of this simple but so deeply profound new system that I have in place. And that's why it's like this. That's why it's broken down, and it emphasizes time as this sort of principal thing, and you're breaking down your time into more and more bite-sized, manageable pieces. So we've gotten down to the monthly level. Inside each season, you have the months that belong. Inside each month, of course, you have all of the goals that you have for that month. And then you break the month down into weeks. And lately, as some of you guys know, if you know me from my Supernote or Booksnote Max videos, you'll know that I've been using a paper tablet as my sort of daily driver, is the central tool that I use for my daily planning. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make a hybrid system where I would use Notion for all of this that I've shown you so far, all the way down. So starting at the decade level, breaking my goals down all the way down to the weekly level. And then after the weekly level, I would go to my Notion, or excuse me, after the weekly level, I would go to my paper tablet system where I have my block schedule system in place, and I would do the daily planning there. But because I'm already doing all of the breaking down from the decade level all the way down to the weekly level here in Notion on this page, I've lately felt the itch to simply continue that one step further to include the day's goals as well. It just seems natural because I'm already doing all the other ones. I might as well keep my daily planning in here as well. There's one thing that I haven't really figured out, and that's the block schedule piece of my daily planning. If you're not familiar with that, you can check out some of those videos. And if you have seen some of those videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But regardless, what I do plan on using this for at the daily level, that is clarifying just like bottom level at the very basic level, what are the priority goals that I'm targeting each day, and what are the bonus goals that I'm prioritizing or that I'm aiming for if I have time each day. All right, so let's build one of these for yourself. If you don't already have a Notion account, it's completely free. By the way, all of this that I'm building here in this video is completely free. I do have a paid Notion plan, and just to sort of whet your appetite a little bit, I'll give you a taste of kind of some of what I've done with Notion. This is the real, I think, value of this channel is if you are what would you say, a fan. If you're interested in personal finance, learning about personal finance, subscribe to my channel because this is the kind of thing that I really get jazzed up about. Being able to see concretely with the numbers, what are you bringing in? What are you spending? And what is the difference? Are you growing richer month to month to month, or are you growing poorer? And breaking down all kinds of different metrics along the way as well. This kind of thing requires a paid plan inside Notion because you have multiple charts. But what we're going to be building right now does not. So let's get started on that. Give your new page inside Notion a name for this master system for managing all of your goals, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you can also give it an icon if you wish. All right, so now the first thing I'm going to do is simply expand this page to be full width. I do that with most of my Notion pages just because I prefer, sorry, all of my things are in Spanish, but I'll just translate for you as I go. So ancho completo is full width page. I do that for most of my Notion pages because I just prefer to have all the space. I don't know why I would have empty space on either side. I'd rather just use all of it. Sometimes it's better to have the narrow width, but for me, I like the default to be the wide width. So next thing is we're going to create a title starting with the decade level. I want to put my 30s, or if you're just turning 20 or so, you might do my 20s, whatever's the most relevant for you. To do a heading, you're going to put a single hashtag, press space, and you've created a header. That's a level 1 header, meaning it's the highest one, the largest one. And then you can title that. I'll put in some italics as well. Okay. My 30s is going to be a section. It's going to be a little different than the other ones all the way down after the decade level because we don't have a drop-down menu. And that's because I figure a decade is long enough that I don't need to be toggling it on and off. I do like the toggle feature for most of the levels, but the decade level, I just decided to save a toggle level because you don't have infinite heading subheaders. You only have 4, and so for me, it made sense to start that drop down menu at the annual level instead. So we're gonna create a little. We're gonna type 3 dashes to create a little underline for this section of the My 30s. And then we're going to start the breaking down process. I'm going to create another header. I'm going to make this heading 2, not because we're there yet, but just because it's for all of my 30s goals. All my 30s. Okay. So now this is where you would put your goals for your 30s. They're going to be different than mine, of course. But my recommendation is to do this thinking on paper. Do the processing of deciding what it is that you want to shoot for this decade of your life on paper, because that is a much more honest practice of self-reflection than trying to do it on the computer. The computer is more for once you've already articulated those plans and those desires and you've really fleshed out what is it that you do want to target on paper. Now you can translate that over into Notion. Okay, so you've got some goals for your 30s or your decade, whatever. And now we're going to start breaking them down by year. So we're going to start with age 30, the first year of this decade, or if you're like somewhere in the middle of the decade, you'll do that year instead. I created a new level 1 header, and now we're going to create a drop-down menu for age 30 by creating a little caret. You type that symbol and then press space, and it'll create a drop-down menu for you. And again, we're going to follow the same pattern, only now we're underneath a subheading. And so we're going to continue to break this down by each respective time frame. So we've got a caret. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to start with a level 2 header now because I'm inside a level 1 header and I want a level below that to fit underneath it so that every time I click this drop-down menu, it shows and hides whatever I have under there as level 2. The first one, I'm going to create another drop-down menu, is all age 30. You're going to write all of your goals in there. Okay, we're going to do another one. I'm going to click enter so I'm at the same level. Another level 2 header. Drop-down menu. Summer. Okay, all of your summer goals. Oh, whoops. Sorry, hold on. I forgot something. Summer is the first month, and we're going to have to break that down. But hold on. After summer, you're going to have all of the other months of your age 30. But you can continue that pattern. I hope that you kind of get this, right? The way that you break down time is basically universal. This doesn't require any kind of creativity. You're just breaking it down as each respective level. And then once you get into the current one thing that I like to do, I'll show you how to do, is the time frame that I'm currently in. So my 30s is an example. I want to make that a different color. I'm gonna highlight it yellow so that it stands out to me. You can highlight it and come down here to the drop-down menu and come over to color. And don't do the text ones. I prefer the background ones. You can do yellow background, and that way it stands out which one that you're working on right now. So if you're age 30 currently, that's the one that you would do. As a little pro tip, you can also do on your keyboard, if you're working on a computer, you can do Control-Shift-H, and that'll do the exact same thing. Summer is the season that I'm in right now, Control-Shift-H. And then the summer, you would do a 3-level header to do. The first one I like to do always is all of the summer goals. Break down those summer goals or all of them, and then same thing. But now for the first month of that season, breaking down those goals. But again, here I'm going to do first one lower level header. You get the idea, right? So then I would highlight June. Actually, I should highlight July because it's July now, but just for sake of time, I'm just going to do June as if it's still June. And then we got this week is the week that I'm on. So I'm going to highlight this one. And now, once you've gotten down to this level, this is a level 4 header. You can't go any further down in Notion as of yet, as of today's, the date of this recording. You can't go any further down. But if you do want to begin now doing the daily level planning, as I showed you in that preview earlier, you can still make headers, or excuse me, not headers, but the little drop down menu for each day of the week using just text level writing. So I've got Wednesday, that would be June 24th, right? And that's just text. It's not actually a header, but you can still do the same pattern where you create a drop down menu. And then I've got all of my priority goals, listing them out here, bonus, etc. Okay. So I hope you can see, I mean, as I shared with you earlier, I've literally spent thousands of dollars, thousands of hours. That's the real, like, the real investment that I've made in experimenting with all these different tools and playing even inside Notion for the way that I wanted to go about managing my goals and breaking them down. This older method of seeing my goals visually, it's not obsolete. I do still have it in place. I do still reference this occasionally. It is nice to have a visual representation of my goals and to see sort of those milestones, those posts in the sand along the way that I really want to keep top of mind, the highest level goals versus this that we just built. This is more of an area to break them down. What are the specific action steps that you're going to take this year, this age, this season, this month, this week, and of course today and or tomorrow. That's what this is all for. And I hope that you can see it's not complicated. It's just a matter of breaking it down with this built-in functionality that exists inside Notion. It's completely free as well. You don't have to pay even for a paid Notion account to have this level of functionality. It's just using it in this way that is, you're the one that's giving it that power. So now that we've built it, I think that another thing that could be helpful is to kind of walk you through an example of myself working through my own projects and how I use this system as I go through the week. And I'm gonna do that by showing you just exactly where I am in time and what I'm working on actively in this moment and how I'm managing that using this system that we just created. Okay, so the first thing I do is when I come to this page, and I can do this both on mobile and on my computer, by the way, I can access this on my phone. I come to this life goals page and I use these yellow headers that I've created to narrow me down very quickly to exactly where I am in time. So I've got my 30s. I might reference this part occasionally, but it's more, an occasional thing. I'm going to quickly zoom in. Age 30, I'll reference this again a little more often, but still not super often. The seasonal, I'll reference even more often. The summer goals that I have, I'll reference even more often. But really, it's at the monthly and especially the weekly level that I'm most actively looking into and updating, because that's where it just kind of is naturally how, I don't know, I guess my brain works or productivity works, whatever. I'm in July. So I find July and I look at, okay, what are my goals for July? I have this, you'll see I have two different columns. If you want to know how to do that, it's very simple. I'm going to come down here to a new line, and you create a / to get all of your tools that are available inside Notion. You just spawn a tool. It's pretty incredible. I like imagine if you were able to do that as a carpenter or a plumber or something. You just like click a button and suddenly you have a, I don't even know the names of all the tools, but imagine you had some tool to be able to splice together pieces of wood or uh, install a toilet, put new piping. It's like Minecraft or something. You just create out of thin air a new tool. It's just amazing to me. Anyway, you create a forward slash, and to create two new columns, you to type in, what do you think? Two columns, and you click two columns, and now suddenly you have this column on this side X, and this column on this side Y, and you can create two columns that way, and that way you can organize your thoughts just very freely. And that's what I did here. I've got my essentials are all of these, and I didn't really give titles to the left and right columns. I just had it arise naturally. I had a set of essential goals that I had for July. These are the ones that I'm aiming for, that are relevant to the completion of my bathroom renovation, which I've been talking about for months now. That is what these are. This is my essential or my priority goals. Better yet, I like that word priority better. On this side, and then I've got on this other side. These are also priority goals, but they're not toward the completion of the bathroom renovation. They are relevant to the reason I'm doing the bathroom renovation, which is to create additional rental income by bringing in a second housemate. I have a current roommate. I'm wanting to bring in a second one for additional rental income. That these are with respect to cleaning up the house, getting it organized, getting it prepared for accepting in a third housemate, a third total housemate, myself included, so that it's just smooth and easy and there's minimal problems, right? Like making it easy to share the kitchen, for example. That's what these are. So that's the only reason I have the two columns, but just in case you wanted to know. And then I've got the bonus goals. These are the goals that I'm going to get done. Short of dropping dead, they're going to happen. They're going to get done. They're absolutely my priority of this month. And then I have bonus. I used to call this optional. You can see this terminology is a huge piece of the puzzle. Just changing the wording a little bit can have a profound impact. I don't want to use the same word over and over. Massive impact is also true. And I would say optional, but the problem with that is it makes it seem not important when these are important. And they do need to, like this one, it does need to get done eventually. But I started to use the word bonus instead because that to me sounds more, I don't know, I guess I like the challenge of it. Like if I get all of my priorities done and then I can go even further by going to the bonus tasks. Optional just doesn't make it sound like it's as rewarding. So bonus, not optional. Essentials, I'm changing probably to priority. Okay, so that's my July. And now that I'm in July and I've looked over my July goals, now I'm going to go into the weekly level and start lining out, okay, based on that, and I can keep this drop down if I want to. While I'm planning my weeks, I can reference those goals and be like, okay, well, now this week, then, what is the first most important goal that I can target? Brian Tracy, a success coach, if you're familiar with him, he's written a few books, very, very successful books about goals and goal setting and productivity. One of the words that he says and stresses is consequential. Successful people focus on the consequential. They don't waste their time with getting a lot of stuff done, but that doesn't matter. You focus on things that have consequence. They matter. They have impact. What are those things that are going to move the needle toward your July goals this week? For me, that was laying down the concrete with my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, I call him Pop Chris, getting that concrete in so that I can move forward on the bathroom renovation. Dolores is the name of the receptionist over at the plumbing company that I'm working with to reschedule the shower installation because I just had to. Well, originally it was because we didn't get the shower in time, And actually last night I just got an email that told me it arrived to the store, but it arrived damaged. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have to probably reschedule again. And that's, that happens. But anyway, that's going to be adjustment probably at the weekly level, right? But that's next week. And then video 103, that's the one I'm working on right now. Those were the 3 priorities this week. It's currently Thursday of this week, and I'm just getting to this video. I've only been allotting about 1 day a week to this YouTube channel because not because I don't want to give more. I do. I definitely want to make better videos, but if I come back up to this higher level, the higher level goals, I can see it keeps me grounded in, hey, like, the YouTube channel is important, but the completing the bathroom this summer by the end of August is the goal. That is it's a goal of major consequence. If all of this work that I've completed so far, I don't see any of the fruit of that work at all until I get it to the finish line. Once I get it to the finish line, it's all worth it. But up until that very moment when I get it to the finish line, meaning the bathroom's completed and I've got a new tenant signed up, he's in and paying me rent, that is the thing that makes all the rest of this work worth it. Until that moment, none of it pays off. It's just wasted time. And so I am putting that first, which is why this YouTube channel, I'm staying faithful, right? I'm making these videos every single week, as promised in the header. I will not fail you, short of dropping dead. But it's not the number one priority yet. It was surely, Lord willing, will be in time. Anyway, going into the bonus tasks, same kind of thing that happened at the monthly level. I've got my bonus tasks that I just naturally arose. I had 3 different sort of sections of bonus tasks. And so what I did was I created 3 columns. As you might guess, the way to do that is you type in a / and you type 3 columns instead of 2. And then you can give those 3 columns titles. I just simply italicized them and bolded them. And then you can, underneath it, you type in the 3 dashes like I showed you before to create a little, some formatting to show like this is a header of sorts. And then inside those 3 sections, I've got the bonus goals inside each of those areas. So, this is how it goes. I can't bring myself to specialize and learn just one area. I would freaking kill myself if I was just a biologist and that's all I knew, and I couldn't talk to anyone but other biologists, and I couldn't discuss anything other than biology. I would tear my eyes out. I want to learn and do and think and see all different kinds of things. And that's why I use Notion. It's one of the reasons I use Notion. Okay, continuing down then, you've seen it already, right? This is now at the daily level. You can create little headers of sorts. You can still create the drop-down menu using them. They're just not officially headers, but you can still do that. And then today is Thursday. My only priority is to make this video, get it done. Regardless of the quality, I will get it done for you, for your sake, by Saturday every week, as I have for about a year now. And I'll continue to do that insofar as the Lord permits me.